Hi, my name is Tammy and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to part 3 of the worst places to have pretty privilege. So what happens when someone else determines you have pretty privilege and assigns that value to you along with the punishment due to an unfortunate situation? Well, in today's video, I am going to discuss the third worst place to have pretty privilege, which is in someone else's mind. Let's get into it. So what does it mean to have pretty privilege in someone else's mind? Basically, you have pretty privilege in someone else's head. Well, it's kind of tricky because it's a privilege that someone has attached to you without your knowledge due to a situation that you may know nothing about. So for clarity and to further break this point down, I am going to use the example of a romantic relationship in which a man breaks up with or cheats on his girlfriend for another woman. But the woman that he leaves her for either happens to be of a different race, a different skin tone, body type, and or phenotype. And phenotype goes into the person's hair color, their features, their height, their genetics, basically their characteristics. So basically the new love interest looks either the opposite or very different from the ex. And sometimes because of that, the ex-girlfriend will automatically associate the new girlfriend or wife with pretty privilege. So let's just say, for an example, if a woman is a dark-skinned woman and her last 2 ex-boyfriends now have light-skinned girlfriends, she may start to feel that the light-skinned women have pretty privilege or that they are better than her. She may start to feel uncomfortable around light-skinned women or insecure. She may find herself automatically disliking them or speaking negatively about them. And if she's with her new boyfriend or husband out somewhere, and if there are a lot of light-skinned women around, she may start to feel apprehension and anxiety, or even worse, jealousy and paranoia that he may be noticing one of them. Because this woman now associates this type of woman with pain or lack, she now has a lot of angst and disgruntled feelings towards this woman that she doesn't even personally know. She now has created a consistent scenario in her head that these type of women take from her or are perceived as better than her, to the point where she associates these women with the negative feelings and dislikes them or anything related to them. So how do you know if you're a target or if someone is punishing you because they have assigned pretty privilege to you? Well, number 1, avoidance. They simply avoid you and choose not to be around you. You are a reminder of their pain or some inadequacy that they feel. These people are very short with you. They don't have a lot to say to you or too much for you. They can be rude to you at times and seem to just not like you. And it's not that your personality is so different or clashes with theirs. And you can be completely nice to this person, welcoming, and they still meet you with a stiff greeting or intentional dry conversation. You may even find yourself questioning, did I do something wrong to this person? Or just having that strong sense of this person just doesn't like me for whatever reason. If you work with this person, they may go out of their way to not acknowledge you. If they are going out to lunch with their coworkers or having a get together with mutual friends, they may purposely not invite you. And at this point, you cannot really do anything about it because this person has confirmed in their head that they not only do not like you, but they don't want to like you. Number 2, they are overly friendly with you or enamored with you. So this one is dangerous because it goes in the category of fake friends. And you should know by now that a fake friend is worse than an enemy. At least you know where the enemy stands. But with a fake friend, you are manipulated to think that they are one way when they are really another way when it comes to you. So when someone has assigned pretty privilege to you, it sometimes comes in the form of a person that is overly friendly and enamored with you. They are in awe of you. They seem to really admire you. It's someone that admires you just a little bit too much where it is not complimentary anymore. It's almost starting to feel a little weird. So for example, a person that is jealous of you may overly compliment you. And when I say overly, it's like with everything that you do, they are just amazed at it. And there are some people that will naturally be in awe of you, but when they do it too much and just seem to love every single thing that you do, it starts to go over into an unhealthy territory. Now, there is a balance between supporting your friend and being obsessive over your friend. The difference is they do a lot of watching and observing you. When you are speaking with them, they want to know more about you and speak less about them. They tend to stare at you a lot and want to know what your interests are, your beauty secrets, what you do in your alone time, etc. They just want to know every little detail about you. They want to know so much about you, but they play themselves down so that you won't ask too many questions about them. And even at times when you're speaking with them, you may see at times a weird gaze in their eyes, as if they are not really listening or taking in the information, like it's kind of just going over their head, as if they are just participating in the conversation. To put it simply, something just seems very inauthentic about them. And it's usually because it is. So why do they do this? Well, number one, they are out to get you. Remember, this person assigned pretty privilege to you, and in their head, you were chosen over them. And you make things harder for them. So they are projecting onto you and resentful towards you. So them taking it out on you, sabotaging you in some way is like their get back, their way of getting revenge, their way of taking back their power. They don't like you and they are only hanging around you to get information to use it against you later, to either gossip about you or to twist your words to embarrass you or to turn people against you. They are waiting to detect some insecurity inside of you so that they can play off it later and break you down. They don't like you because they are not allowing themselves to like you. They are just there to gather and collect information to see what they can take from you to wrong you behind your back later. They are monitoring you. And a big detector that you may have a fake friend is if you're able to watch how they are around other people, who they also call their friends. You'll notice that they may act differently, speak differently, their tone may be different, they may talk different. They may talk about different things. Sometimes it may sound like they are a completely different person. And this is a big indicator that they are not being authentic with you. And if you do see this, be very careful because those friends could also be in on the plot to take you down as well. The second reason that they are overly friendly or enamored with you is because if they can't beat you, they might as well be you. Let me say that again. If they can't beat you, they might as well be you. So sometimes when you have pretty privilege in someone else's head or in their mind, they take that in an unhealthy way. And one of those ways is becoming you. Because you're the perceived chosen one, they want to be you. They hang around you to, once again, collect information. But this time to see what they can take from you, to steal from you, in order to make themselves better, more like you, or better than you. They want to emulate you. They hang around you to pick up your mannerisms, your charm, your energy, your essence. They want to embody you. You'll start noticing this when they start dressing like you and acting like you and saying things like you, taking some of the things that you say and acting as if they said it first. And sometimes they'll even start sounding like you. They are pretty much at this point mirroring you. And the weird thing about this is they do this in front of you as if you can't see or notice that they are emulating your identity. It is very, very strange, which is how you know that they are projecting some form of rejection that they received onto you. An extreme case of this would be the movie Single White Female. Number 3, they don't allow their significant other around you. Because these people are blaming you or associating you with some traumatic event that happened in their life where your looks or your type was chosen over them, some people choose to respond to this by being overly controlling, which is a form of insecurity. So let's say, for example, in this case, this woman is more on the thicker side, but her ex-boyfriend left her for a more slimmer woman. And if you're slim, she may consider you a threat and not want you around her boyfriend or her husband due to fear that it may happen again, or that he may find you desirable, or her now jealousy of slimmer women has allowed her to be so uncomfortable around them that she won't allow her slim friends to even come around her husband or her boyfriend. So she has a way of manipulating her relationship to the point where her slimmer friends are never around her when she's around her man. And this takes a lot of work and is exhausting, I'm sure, because she's having to control so much to keep her significant other away from those types of women. These women are very controlling because they are living in fear. They haven't gotten over their trauma, and instead of dealing with it, they become very insecure, trying to control every single little thing. And if they happen to slip up and they run into that slim friend, their body language may become very tight, and you better believe it, that interaction will be very short because she's getting up out of there. This triggers her. Some women will even tell you, they'll tell you this to your face, and I have seen this with my own two eyes. They will tell you, I don't allow you or a certain type of woman around my man, period. This, of course, will lead to problems in the relationship and her friendships because of the control and the manipulation. This is a symptom of that person's trauma, and if not dealt with, can lead to a lot of broken relationships and more trauma. It's really sad because they are making problems that are not even there, and they're not really dealing with the issue at hand. They're just putting a band-aid on top of it. They are just covering, but they're not really taking care of the problem within inside of them, which is their personal trauma or insecurity. And deep down, these women know that they are insecure, but they just don't quite have the courage to do anything about it. And number 4, microaggressions and passive aggressiveness. Now, this is a very common one. So, have you ever been in a situation where someone always has something snappy to say to you, or no matter how nice you are to them, they seem to have a nasty attitude towards you? In this situation, the person always seems to say little things under their breath, making condescending jokes, or always being negative towards you in some kind of way. They, for whatever reason, seem bothered by you or moody around you, but they just never outright say what it is or say what's bothering them or what they don't like about you. If they are jealous of your looks, they may say something like, well, you wouldn't have to worry about that. Or they may reference your body type in a derogatory way. So for example, if you are slender or the opposite of their body type, they may jokingly say, real women have curves. Or if you live in a nice house, they may say something like, well, what did you do to get that? I'm sure you didn't work for it. Or if you have pretty hair or some pretty feature that they like or that they want for themselves, they may make little jokes and little comments about your hair, how your hair may be better than theirs, or you have certain advantages with your hair. Now, these types of statements can be fun, they can be jokes, and it's nothing really wrong with joking or saying these kind of statements. The issue is that with these particular people that have assigned pretty privilege to you, they overly use these types of statements. They are overly condescending to you, overly negatively joking with you. They are very consistent to the point where you start to feel at some point or another that this person has a problem with you, or even more accurate, they have a problem with themselves. It's not necessarily the statements that they say, but the energy behind the statements. You can tell when your friend is kind of joking with you and just playing with you here and there versus someone that's kind of almost personally attacking you. It's the tone of the statements and the duration in which they make those statements, especially if they're starting to notice that you are uncomfortable with those statements. It's kind of like they always have something negative to say when it comes to you, and if you're around them long enough, it'll start to feel like jealousy because it is a form of jealousy. Now, sometimes people are just bitter and they speak to most people like this. It's just their personality, it's just who they have become to be. But you can tell when it's targeted, when it usually just only happens to you or people that kind of resemble you or your type. And it really becomes a problem when you start to notice that it's affecting your mental health. So these are examples when you have pretty privilege in someone else's mind, when someone else has assigned pretty privilege to you without you knowing, due to some kind of traumatic event or something that has happened to where they are now projecting that pain or that trauma onto you. And a lot of times when people go through trauma, they sometimes will take a certain person or place or thing and they will attach that trauma to it and associate that trauma to it, to where they start acting out and showing negative feelings towards that particular thing that they associate that trauma with. And it has nothing to do with you. But because of it, you may be treated badly or differently and not even really know why. So this wraps up the third worst place to have pretty privilege. And if you want to know the other two worst places to have pretty privilege, go check out those videos and I will link them in the description. So have you been the target of someone assigning pretty privilege to you? Or are you doing the assigning? Of course, I want to know all of you all's thoughts, so please leave your thoughts and comments below in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you all for watching, and just like always, I'll see you all in the next one.